Hey everyone, it's Tony here with Nerds Never Sleep, and it's time again for another Ichiban Kuji figure unboxing. Now today I'm going back to Jujutsu Kaisen with Jujutsu Kaisen, the fourth Kuji. And this one today is of course going to be the Cursed Speech User, the Salmon Master, Toge Inumaki. Now, those you don't know, basically this character is the one that you see with the short hair and the face covering, who pulls his face covering down and says a lot of random words. But at the same time, when he does rip out a sentence or a command, it compels the people to obey. So he is actually a pretty powerful character. It's not a psychic power, but it is just the speech itself that is the power. So he does end up using a lot of just random words to limit the speech so that his power isn't used. It's a pretty cool character. It's a pretty cool way of doing it. It's almost similar to like how Marvel has Black Bolt, who has like speech and words, and they can just destroy planets, you know, while not on that same level. His speech can just compel people to do whatever he says. So it's not a destructive power like Black Bolt has, but it's something akin to that, where it's the power is in his voice and his speech. So it's a pretty cool character. I actually really enjoy him. But as far as the power scaling in JJK goes, it's up there, but it's not up there, you know. So the power scaling in JJK definitely escalates continually as things go on. But enough about that. Let's talk about the Kuji. Basically, this one had two figures. It had Toge and it had Maki, who's the only one so far I have not gotten. I did get her, and in the box, when you shook it around, her curse tool was actually snapped in half, so I had to send her back. They didn't have a replacement for it. So we will get our hands on her eventually. But for now, we're going to go with my boy Toge. I'm going to bring you in. I'll let you take a look at the box. This one, if you've seen any of these other guys here, Yuji, Megumi, and Sugita, they all have a very similar style box. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, I'm going to bring you in, let you take a look at it, and then we're going to open it up, see how he turned out. Okay, so right out the bat, you can see there is no prize number or prize letter on this, meaning I did get it here in the US. I got this from the IGN store at like a 75% discount, so shout out, that was cool. Sometimes you can get some really cool stuff from their store. I know a lot of people don't even know it exists, but it's a pretty basic box. Whereas his color scheme is the green color scheme. We had Yuji's had red, Megumi's has like a blue, Sukuna's was like a blood red. So they all kind of have their own little color scheme, and it's just a swash of color here on this side, a swash of color on this side, and a very basic Jujutsu Kaisen logo with the swash of color on it. Obviously, with your information about the figure itself. It is, of course, an Ichiban Kuji figure from Bandai Namco, and it is from Jujutsu Kaisen, the fourth. So, very, very basic thing here. Super basic boxes, but a nice window where you get a good look at what Toge is going to look like, kind of pulling his mask down, ready to use his cursed speech. So, with that being said, let's take a look at him right now. All right, so now that I got you guys zoomed in a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and crack this one open. All right, so as you guys can see here, it's going to have a couple different pieces. We've got Toge himself, we've got a little stand, and we've got his base. So his foot's probably going to plug into the base. This is going to probably hook up to his knee, and we're going to be done. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start the base. Yes, that tape did hurt my fingers. So here on the base, just like with the other three that I've done in this set, we have got this swash of color, and of course, the Japanese writing down here. We've got a sideways foot key, and we've got a keyhole down here at the bottom. So we're going to have, obviously, a keyhole for the stand and a keyhole for his foot. So I'm going to go next with the actual stand, which is just your typical little kind of brace to put his knee. And it does have a specific cut to it, and you probably aren't going to be able to see this, but there's a specific cut to this. A lot of them, they're just a straight circle, and you can twist it however you want. This one does have a dedicated spot to how it's supposed to go. So I do like that. All right, we're gonna take him out of the plastic. He is all one piece, and it looks really cool. It looks like he's kind of in motion, ready to go, ready to pull his mask kind of down, and I can dig it. And he does actually have his spray as well. So that's a really cool little bonus. So he does have a hole in his foot right here that is going to plug in. Plugs right in, and his knee shot right in there. So that was actually perfect placement. A lot of the times these can be a little iffy with how their placement is and how the figure is, depending on how the mold goes. But this one, boom, went in very painlessly, super easy. I appreciate when a figure goes together like that. I do notice one thing I'm a little unhappy with right now, and I'll get into that when I give my final thoughts. But all in all, he looks like a pretty cool piece. So, as always, I'm going to clear this junk off, bring you in, and let you take a closer look as well.
Action figures standing tall, cosplay outfits ready for the con, inbox treasure never pawned. Of space, a tale to share, pixelated quests all filed with care. Dusty joysticks, they click, the combo strike, and the room's alive with the late night tide.
All right, so there was your closer look at this pretty decent Toge from Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I say decent for one reason, and now you guys probably saw that in the zoomed in look here. This separation of the hair. I think it's extremely sloppy, especially when you look at the hair of the other guys in this set. Granted, he does have a different hairstyle. It's not a crazy spiky hairstyle, but this to me is very sloppy. The way they put apart, they separated the hair into two different pieces right here. This piece could have easily been one solid piece put on the top of the head, and instead they opted for the hair to be in two pieces, and there's a noticeable seam in this hair. It just takes away from the figure, especially with on this side here where there's a larger gap than on the other side. It's almost like this hair wasn't put together properly. That's not something that happens very often with Kuji figures. Now, what do I think of him as a piece itself? Minus the way the hair was done, I think it's a great piece. I think he's on par with the rest of these guys in this set. And again, JJK doesn't have the most flashy costumes or anything like that. So they are a very basic look. They all have a very similar costume or suit and just a little bit of their own flair to it. You know, Yuji has his kind of red hood. Toge, of course, has his mask and covering. So all in all, it's a solid piece for a JJK piece. As far as a Kuji figure goes, just because of that hair and the way they molded this, I absolutely hate it. And this is going to knock this down. I was going to say he was a solid 7 out of 10. That hair is going to knock this one down to a 6 for me. Because I think that is really, especially for how much Kuji figures go, I think that was a very lazy and very sloppy way of doing it. And I can't get past it right now. I cannot unsee the split there in the hair. And I know it's something to do with their production, but I've seen other things like Ben Presto prize figures of him where the hair is all one solid piece. So I know it can be done. This is just, to me, there's not really much excuse for it. And it really does kind of hurt my heart, because I wanted a really cool dynamic figure of him, because most of the Ben Presto prize figures just don't do it for him. This one being in a cool dynamic pose where you can kind of put him out here with the rest of the guys looking like they're all in action together. Very, very cool. But that split in the hair, I keep looking back at it myself right now. I can't get past it. So in my opinion, he's a 6 out of 10. The figure itself, all this is a solid 7 out of 10. And I only say 7 because the JJK ones, again, they're not the most dynamic or crazy looking, characters with intricate details, things like that. They're a very basic look. Whereas you have things like the My Hero Kuji figure, stuff like that, where these things all have these crazy dynamic colors, all these things coming off them. There's a lot of different variation. And I can't really review it much higher than that because I compare it to other Kujis in the same price range. That's how I scale my reviews. Now, again, if it was not for this hair, he would be a higher score. And I may purchase another one or reach out to somebody over at Bandai Namco. I've had luck before, and show them this experience with this piece and see what happens. But it could be like that for everything. So we'll see. But all in all, I still can say I recommend him because he does round out the set perfectly. I know they are from different Kujis, but just be warned that this hair, it might not be as bad for yours. This could have just been an issue with the gluing or whatever of the hair. But that seam, it shouldn't be there at all. It should just been one solid piece of hair plopped on top of the head, call it a day. Just like the rest of these all have the hair as a solid piece and it goes into the head. But again, I'm not a sculptor. I've been looking at so many of these so long that I can definitely tell where there was a mistake made in the designing of this. And to me, that was a design flaw in the sculpt. But doesn't take away from the fact that this is a very, very cool figure of Toge. But again, I gotta subtract a point for the hair. I just gotta do it. Hate me all you want. I know he's a fan favorite character, but if you do love this character, I can say I do recommend this one. He is the best Toge that I've seen so far, but I know there's newer ones on the way. So if you want to wait, but if not, you can find him on the pretty much cheap. I think I paid $18 for him on the IGN store. So look around. He's not a very expensive piece. If you can get him for a decent price, I highly do recommend it because, again, he does go amazingly well with the rest of these. But that's going to be it for this kind of rant because I'm so shocked they made a blunder like that with this one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You enjoyed checking him out with me. Let me know in the comments what you thought of him and what you think about this kind of design flaw in the split piece of the hair. And that's going to be it, guys. If you did like the video, do me a solid. Click that like button, the subscribe button, the share button, spread the nerdiness, follow on all the social medias. The links are down in the description below. And I will see you all in the next video. Fingers crossed the audio went okay in this one. Bye, everyone.